2023 Octane Series season, the field has already seen America's home for racing in the Charlotte Motor Speedway's oval configuration. But tonight, we're adding a twist and a turn, and a few more where that came from. It's the Charlotte Roval, and for the first time in this year, we'll be seeing the twists and turns in North Carolina, part road course, part oval, and the stakes are as high as they can get. This is the final race of the round of 12, the cut-off night, and after tonight, there will only be 8 drivers competing for the championship. Looking live right now, Caitlin Height, one of the few drivers on the roll so far, and it looks like 17 drivers have taken time here in qualifying. 2 minutes and 9 seconds indeed, going down very quickly, but so far, qualifying nearly wrapped up as we introduce you to the racing here in Charlotte for round 26 of the tour. Great to have you all aboard yet again on FTN. I'll be your host for all of tonight's action and Charlotte Motor Speedway, of course, where we're at. It's a big night for Charlotte and iRacing, and I'll be leading you through all the action here in the Integrity Racing League. David Kreutz producing and commentating tonight's show alongside a big night for iRacing. As we mentioned, the Coca-Cola iRacing Series having their finale in Charlotte with the NASCAR Hall of Fame, and I believe that that's going to lead us to a Road to Pro action, which will be on Thursday night on FTN as well. So a big week in the eNASCAR scene, and this championship is getting that much more intense. The Octane Series is a $2,000 prize in value, courtesy of Next Level Racing, that all drivers are keeping an eye out for. So this is serious. And Caitlin Height, after a dominant victory in Talladega, well, wasn't necessarily dominant, but got every point she needed and got there at the end of the race. She got it done. She's locked into the round of 8, and Sam Nito now fighting to put himself up in pole. He's there by 59 thousandths of a second ahead of Don Stevenson as it stands. A lot of your drivers coming tonight are already in the playoff race. Blue represents those who are in the round of 12. Red represents those who are out of the playoff race, did not make the opening round of the playoffs, and after this week, we'll have a complete list of drivers who were not able to advance after this race. So it's going to be only 8 drivers competing from this point onward, and Sam Nito, one of the drivers looking to get it done tonight to lock himself in and have no worry going into the final stretch of the tour. Cody Smith right now going to be 13th on the order, the only other driver on the track, and it looks like your pole sitter will be the man we're watching on the screen right now. As time continues to pass by, it looks like Sam Nito's pole sitting run is all but secured, and the number 2 machine finds himself yet again position number 1. Sam Nito's your pole sitter for the Roval, and just like that, qualifying is over. Number 2 machine gonna drop from the charts. He's gonna drop for the track. And now we've got ourselves a 5-minute warm-up. Time to make those last adjustments, find out what works and what doesn't. And for these drivers, it looks like they've had themselves over 40-odd minutes of practice to this point, but they're jumping at the opportunity and taking the hard left to get back on the track through the pit access road. A challenge of the Charlotte Motor Speedway in this Roval configuration, leading a lot more drivers than usual to get on the track immediately. Not only because of the high stakes, but because of the challenging nature of this track, balancing traditional oval aspects and of course the road course racing at the same time. A big pack coming out, 6 at a time now, as you're going to see Sam Nito led around the course by Alan Dobbs just ahead of him. Qualifying though has been set, so we know who's starting where, and has about we find out where our drivers will be ordered to kick off the racing here in the Roval. 55 laps of action, and without further ado, this will be your starting grid for round 26 of the season. The championship coming down to the last stretch, and this is the first elimination race of the playoffs. The Charlotte Roval plays host to round number 26, and Sam Nito once again has a strong qualifying run. The number 2 machine jumps up into the first position. It's going to be pole for the number 2, and it's a 121.062, just ahead of Don Stevenson in the second spot. Stevenson going to be starting in the second position, 121.122, and he'll have himself ahead of Ross Cato. Cato starts third, looking to get another solid run in here. These road courses, P3 for the number 12, 121.252. Defending winner Caitlin Height knows what it takes to be successful at a road course, and right now she'll be starting in the 4th position. Number 11, she is right there with a 121.303. And Jacob Flank will round out your top 5. 36 is going to be there with a 121.399, just ahead of Nick Tarbuck, who's continued his consistency all season long. Looking to break out for win number 2, Tarbuck starts 6th with a 121.563, and Ryan Ryan Farrell puts himself inside of row number 4. That's the number 93 machine starting in a 7 with a 121.653 ahead of your first non-playoff driver, Alan Dobbs. Dobbs going to be there, 8th place on the board, finds himself there with a 121.665 just behind Ryan Farrell and enough to get ahead of Nicholas Ward, your second non-championship eligible driver in this qualifying order. While he's not eligible for the championship, still a solid qualifying run, 121.923, and Seth Well, your defending road course race winner, finds himself 10th with a 121.957. 11th then going to be held by Guillermo Alvarez, and Tom Wetmore right beside him is going to be in 12th. It'll be Cody Smith then in 13th, and Jorge Canales in the 84 machine starts in 14th. To round out your top 15, going to be Bobby Ross in number 40-14, and Eric McFarland starts right beside him in position number 16. To round out the drivers with a time lap, Alan Rawell scored 17th and last of those who took a time with a 1:28.053. Outside of row 9 is going to be Luis Caballero, and the number 19 spot held by the driver of the number 19 machine himself, Randy Fiaster, to round out the 19 car field here in the Roval. Round number 26. From February on to late September, we've been racing as hard as we can all season long, and these road course races, even though they appear infrequently, they are some of the highlights of the season, always providing drivers with a challenge that doesn't come up all too often, and they have to manage a different level of strategy. Only one caution expected tonight, as we've seen all season long. Stage caution is going to be expected at lap number 22. So 22 laps in, we'll get that caution, regroup, and reload from there. Otherwise, clean and green. You want to keep it up there. Make sure you don't make those mistakes. It might be better to be a bit more conservative as the race goes on and just hit the wall whenever you can't. That's going to be a bit of a opposite of what we meant to say. Don't hit the wall. You want to stay away from it. Get away from trouble. Even if you're not going 100% on the pace, if you can keep it up there with persistence and attrition in mind, you'll be a faster driver by the end of the day than those who push 110%. Aggression and its management is going to be a key factor in the racing. Tire strategy will be too. Not often does a next-gen see tire wear, but as Charlotte Roval, any tire can get burnt out. Had the pleasure of racing recently in a league race in the Charlotte Roval. 40 laps of action in the Xfinity machines. They do drive different, granted, but the tires were shredded, and drivers who are running fast like the 121 range right now, they'll see themselves fade out and go to the 122s, 23s, or even the 124s if things get very slippery. Right now, Caitlin Height's going to be the fastest in second practice, 120.996, and Caitlin very quick so far. She's going to find herself the number 11 machine fastest here in our warm-up. So big gains for Caitlin Height from qualifying to our second practice. She'll be the fastest driver before the race gets going, and defending winner from Talladega wants to seal the deal with another checkered flag. Already locked into the round of 8. What more can she do? We're going to find out. An estimate showing, yes, 55 laps of racing, so we should not be looking at our cautions a big factor. One caution, it will be our stage break, and then we will go from there. Drivers already getting lined up. You'll see Sam Nito, Don Stevenson, and Ross Cato. And for Don Stevenson, one of the drivers who desperately needs a good qualifying run, 47 machine trying to get back into the picture here tonight. He finds himself now in second, right next to Sam Nito. This number 2 machine has been very quick all season, already has multiple wins. Don Stevenson and Ross Cato alike are some of the 2 best drivers who have been able to get it done without victories. Consistency always up there fighting for the top 5 or a podium, but as of recent, both have struggled. Got Baco Logo fan 123 in the chat. Thank you for stopping by. Great to have you here on FTN for a doubleheader. It's going to be River Page leading you through the Texicon, or the Culture Designs Truck Series, as they call on the Talladega 133. They're having a fantastic second season. The races there have been great. River's been talking to me about it, and he's had a lot of fun working with that group as they continue to expand. Championship races packed, and the Cup drivers, while they've given some of those regulars a bit more flack than they like, very fair competition all the same. Some of these drivers have experience racing those guys, but they're not here tonight. They're all in a different racing lobby. Next-Gen's at Charlotte here, and we'll be going to Talladega with the trucks at 9:30 Eastern on a separate stream only on FTN. 55 laps, Charlotte Roval. Round 26, and it looks like now Sam Nito getting prepared, warming up those tires. Don Stevenson way down low, and now as the iRacing official pace car leads them through, final preparation begins now. The drivers, of course, have to understand everyone else, but it's not the same way. We've been saying that for the past week and a half. We've been talking about connections, relationships between these drivers, but tonight it's more about what you could do by yourself, and you want to avoid getting involved with other drivers because you'll go around sliding very quickly here. Not a lot of control at Charlotte with this Roval configuration. You got to understand your line better than anyone else's. A lot of drivers running this track a bit differently. Not everyone's on the same natural level of pace. Guys like Sam Nito, Don Stevenson, much quicker than those in the back of the field like Eric McFarland or Alan Roval, but that's okay if they can manage it and coexist on the same track. You don't want to cause trouble with people who run at a different pace, are running the track different, or have different goals in mind. Some drivers here are going to be chasing the stage victory, and that's all they'll need. Others are, of course, going to be going for that race win, knowing how important the checkered flag could be if they can get to it. Right now, you'll see your top 5 in qualifying made up of only blue names on the top of the timing sheets. Blue indicates the driver is still in the championship running. Red indicates they are not in it and did not make the playoffs at all. So we'll be updating that after this week to find out who's eliminated and who is not. However, tonight, there's still more drivers than those outside the cut line with a chance. Coming out tonight, it is Guillermo Alvarez on the cut. He starts in the 11th today, and he's 8 points up, and he has been hot as a recent Daytona victory, and since then racking up multiple podiums. Only had one podium on the season, coming into his first win at Daytona. Since then, he's turned around with multiple podiums since that point, getting a podium at Watkins Glen, then at Bristol, and he ran solid at Darlington most recently, and even had himself a good run at Talladega. So this number 83 machine is working his way through. He was not the quickest driver of the regular season by any means, but now faster week after week, and he's on the cusp of making it to the second round of the 2023 playoffs. We'll see whether or not he can make it tonight, or whether or not Sam Nito can lock it through with the race win in mind. 55 laps for the Charlotte Roval, led by the number 2 machine as they make it through the final chicane. It's Nito and Don Stevenson taking the green flag here in America's home for racing. Green is underway in round 26 of the 2023 season. And we've already got a spin. Sam Nito saves it. We keep on going. And they're going to get jumped up even further. Wetmore and Nito yet again. Trouble, but they'll keep it straight. Sam Nito's now going to be 4 wide, and it looks like he's getting beaten up even further. Cody Smith spins, and usually we try to take the first lap silent, but man, oh man, our pole sitter fades back to the 17th immediately. Huge losses for Sam Nito, and you saw that one live as we watched the rest of the first lap here. Number 2 is fading back big, and we'll take a look back with an instant replay. It looks like trouble brewing on this first segment. The contact from Don Stevenson ends up sliding into the outside wall, tries to get it going, then hit by Tom Wetmore. Wetmore is going to save himself off Guillermo Alvarez. Then Sam Nito goes again, tries to make the corner. They're 4 wide. Bobby Ross hits them, and then Cody Smith goes around spinning. This is the worst start for any driver this season in any race, and it comes at the worst time. Sam Nito, I know this is a nightmare for him, and all of a sudden he's nearly dead last. 16th, racing with Jorge Canales, Alan Rowell, and Randy Fiash. It's going to be a long way up from here. He's lucky he's got a caution to bail him out. But Don Stevenson's got a clear lead. 47 machine out in front with Cato, Height, and Ryan Farrell then on back. All of a sudden, huge trouble to start off this race. 2 laps into 55. Don Stevenson able to claim that lead. Then from there on out, you'll see drivers like Ross Cato now in second. Caitlin Height jumps up to third. She's looking much better than her qualifying indicated, gets a bit loose there, but keeps it straight all the way. Then from there, you'll see Ryan Farrell ranked tonight in the number 43, his usual number 93, his best finish on the season, getting it at the Circuit of the Americas, third place finish, and that finish was what granted him a spot in the playoffs. A tiebreaker between he and Alan Dobbs. Dobbs had his best finish of 5th at Rockingham, but a third place at the road course in Austin, Texas, gave Farrell the opportunity to go racing here tonight with the championship still in mind. Might not be the most likely of circumstances, but Ryan Farrell still got the opportunity. If all goes well, number 43 machine now going to be on your frame, chasing down the final spot on the podium and some bonus points to go with it. And after that chaotic first lap, drivers able to get back on the move, and so far 3 laps in of 55, we're getting the pace on. Drivers are starting to feel how the long run's going to work, and Don Stevenson's got the perfect situation right in front of him. Now, whether or not he's going to be given the blame for that contact between he and Sam Nito, that is to be determined. Of course, you saw those two hit each other at the start of the race. Too little room, too many drivers going at it, and then from there, Nito dropped like a rock. Now finds himself in 14th, so he's doing a bit better than before, but that start is a nightmare, and it has to have been the worst case scenario as Stevenson is making it through with ease. 47's out there in front. He's got himself the lead over Ross Cato and Caitlin Height. As we look in the middle of the field here, they're battling big. Taking a look now at Sam Nito, and it looks like he's going to be a bit further back in the frame. We're looking directly at Jacob Fife and Seth Well. These two drivers, the 36 and the 9, multiple wins apiece, and they're still fighting to get a bit more out of the top 10. One driver going to nearly miss the entirety of the chicane, Luis Caballero, as it's Alan Dobbs in trouble. Dobbs almost lost the front end. It came back on our screen, and it looks like Dobbs is going to lose some time through the chicane, hits the wall, and gets back going. So it already looks like the bus stop causing some trouble here tonight, and drivers are trying to take it too wide. It's causing some issues. So luckily, single file through there. Aggression, it is being displayed right now with such a life or death circumstance when it comes to a championship run. Some drivers fighting harder than others. Looks like Alan Dobbs now on pit road. He's going to take it down there early. Randy Fiash is on his own. He's got some clean air, but he's scored right now in 18th, the second to last driver on the order. He's going to have a bit more trouble making it through quickly, but luckily no damage, and that's going to keep him in the going. Eric McFarland there, the first time we've seen this number 33 machine, goes a bit wide through the apex, but all is well, so long as you keep it out of that tire barrier, keep it out of the grass, which some drivers have struggled with. It's going to mean a lot as the race goes on to keep it away from the wall, especially if it's a major hit. Now, minor incidents like we saw with Caballero making it by the frame right there, you can afford that. A few hits, beating some bangs time and time again, you can afford to have that happen once or twice. But for the number 91 machine right now, he knows that if he gets involved in the same manner with someone like Alan Dobbs or, say, for instance, Sam Nito, just continuously getting bopped around the track, you can't do that. That's a no-go, and it's going to come back to hurt your race even further. Right now, if you're settling in, get ready for that long run. 4 laps in out of our 22-lap starting run, and Don Stevenson will take him through turns 1 and 2 all over again. Right now with Don Stevenson still the leading man, he's got a 2-second lead now on Ross Cato, and Ross has been able to make up quite a lot of time on the rest of the field. He got that jump with the incident involving Stevenson and Tom Wetmore, and now is going to be in the runner-up spot firmly ahead of Caitlin Height. Best case scenario for him, even if other drivers certainly not happy with how that went down, and now Ross is going to be there in the second spot trying to make things happen, going through each and every apex, hitting the curbs, and looking very good to get another podium on the tour. Best finish this season, second place multiple times over, and he's been third multiple times as well. He's no stranger to being on that second step of the podium, and though he desperately wants to be up there on the top. A win would be everything for this number 12 in the campaign for a championship. They're still going for. If you want to lock yourself in no matter what circumstances around you, get that win. When a checkered flag falls, a winner is the one that not only scores the most points, but if they're involved in the playoff race, they're automatically advancing to the next round. Now, if you point your way in this round and win the next, that's even better, of course. You want to make your way in to finish off the season. But either way, number 12 machine knows locking it easy is much better than saving up that stress until the final run. Because right now, even if you're sitting pretty up in front 6 laps in, it could happen to you the same way we saw on the initial start. We're still expecting one more start on the race. It's going to be a restart, and it could be troublesome as Bobby Ross spins at the start-finish line and gets it going by himself. Number 44 machine having a bit of trouble, and it looks like now regrouping. Nobody else caught up with it. Eric McFarland flies by. Eric's now going to be in 14th, and it looks like Jorge Canales gets by 2 in position number 13. One driver that's made up quite a lot already, Sam Nito, your pole sitter, now is back up into 12th. For a low of 17th place, he's gained 5 spots since then, and still has a ways to go to get up to even the top 10, but it looks like now it's a bit more likely than, say, 5 laps ago. Almost looking an insurmountable charge, but all of a sudden, this number 2 machine is on a roll and puts himself up the high side going into turns 1 and 2, the oval portion of the configuration, and this is the key that separates Charlotte's Roval from any other road course. Unlike almost every other, the only I can think of is the original Fuji Speedway configuration. High banked oval portions on road courses are seldom seen, and when they are, they're only seen in one turn or two. Fuji Speedway, as we mentioned, once had Daytona-style cornering, as NASCAR originally planned to expand to a Daytona-style clone in Japan. That never worked out, and eventually the land was bought up to create a Grand Prix-style circuit. The only thing that remained of the NASCAR expansion was the first section of Daytona. It was similar to Daytona as any other track could be, like to maybe Talladega as well, but over 25 degrees of banking there, and while it's not as much as Charlotte is, or rather vice versa, Charlotte not as daring as Fuji Speedway's biggest bank corner is. It's multiple turns of oval banking, which are never seen at a traditional road course. And not only that, the road racing circuit is enclosed within the oval, which is why it's called a Roval. Road course and oval, the words combined, and you've got yourself a whole new concept in racing. This track has only been used in NASCAR National Series action for just about 5 years, and word is that the Roval will be going away after 2023, at least for drivers in the NASCAR National Series, be it the Trucks, the Xfinity Series, or the Cup Series. However, this road configuration has existed for several decades now. It came with the original iRacing package, but was never as well developed as it has become within the past half decade. One driver with some trouble, Nicholas Ward, he misses the bus stop there, gets it back on the way, stops it, gets it going again, and makes the penalty quickly. Gets back on the way. The Coors number 97 now getting scored in 11th, and those who are trying to spoil the party up in front starting to make some progress. Up in front, your top 5 are all still playoff eligible, but Luis Caballero now finds himself the first of those not involved in the championship. He's 8th place right now, 8 laps in, and through consistency, he actually has put up some very competitive laps too. He's up there. His most recent lap, a 121.4, his fastest lap of the day. So clearly, Luis Caballero coming into form right now when it matters the most in this run, separating himself from the competition, getting away more and more, and trying to split up the difference before we get to our stage break at lap 22. So drivers already adjusting for the long haul. Don Stevenson is your leading driver as it stands. Ross Cato then going to be second. Caitlin Height's going to be third, with Nick Tarbuck then in fourth. And you can see now it's going to be Nick and Seth going at it right through the bus stop again. Number 9 machine is going to be right behind the 4, Chevy on Chevy right now, and Seth's going to take it through oval 3 and 4, building up that draft. Taking a look on board with the number 9, and you'll see how much power he's putting down, only to downshift rapidly down to the second gear at about 5,700 revs a minute, even down below 5,000 for a blip, and then upshifting once more. And now with even some lap traffic to navigate, that's Randy Fiash who's going to pass by. The number 9 team machine scored in 18th right now, so Randy fading back outside the top 15. Seth, though, still firmly in the top 5. He's 5th as it stands. He has total now of 4 seconds of separation to Jacob Fife. Good enough to keep him in this battle for the podium as long as he wishes. Only 2 seconds behind the driver, the number 11, and Caitlin Heights. The podium is within reach. Just gonna need some precision, a bit more than what we've seen already, and that's the difference between a good run and a great run. Right now, the drivers inside the top 5 all running laps within the 121 range, fastest of which was from Seth Well, and his number 9 machine ran a 121.235 last lap, quicker than Don Stevenson by about a tenth of a second, quicker than Ross Cato and Caitlin Height by over half a second, and right now he finds himself clawing back at the 4th position, of which he gained a tenth of a second back on in that most recent time around. So certainly Seth Well, no slouch right now as he keeps himself in competition for another higher position, finds himself in the back bumper of the 4th place as they come through the double digits, 10 laps into 55. Now Seth going to take it down to the bottom side. Nick's going to have to go up high, hoping to make it work side by side. Don't get too antsy off corner exit, and they'll be dead even coming into the first intersection of the Roval. Now Seth's going to find himself working up to the outside of the apex. Not the preferred groove at all, but he's working it very well. Going to have to use that slide job maneuver, drop down to the bottom, trying to find the apex. Doesn't get it the same as the number 4 just ahead of him. And just like that, Seth is going to stay on his back bumper. Now he's going to find himself with an opportunity, taking it into the oval turns. And that's one of the biggest chances to make a pass. If you could drop down low into the merger between the road course and the first 2 oval turns, you'll be smooth sailing and have a pass quite easily. That's a picture perfect pass, and Seth Well going to be able to complete it to get up into 4th, now chasing Caitlin Height, who will be just ahead of him. She's going to be now 3rd, 5 seconds back on Dawn Stevenson. Dawn still going to lead the way 10 laps in, and has led every lap on the day so far. Coming across the stripe yet again, Dawn Stevenson leads us to lap number 11. He put Alan Rawell 1 lap down, and now the next man in jeopardy being put 1 down would be Cody Smith and his number 18. So all of a sudden, drivers are going to be put off of the lead lap. Stevenson is that quick so far, and as we come up closer to our first yellow flag of the day, the 47 in control and keeping it that way, hopefully until the checkered flag drops, but still a long way to go. Jacob Fife going to come down to pit road this time by. He's got some damage, and he's going to need to fix it. All of a sudden, first pit stop of the day for this 36 team, and we'll find out whether or not he's got a shot to get back out on the track. Number 36 down and in. Now Don Stevenson going to be able to put hit 1 lap down the way things are looking. And Ross Cato remains 4 seconds back in the 2nd position. Second's going to be held by Cato, with Caitlin Height still in 3rd, and then Seth Well now right behind in 4th. The gap is closing. Seth is now going to find himself about 2.5 seconds away from the number 11 machine, and it's the number 11 currently holding her own in 3rd, but with the speed that Seth has, might not be for much longer. As he was at Watkins Glen, not able to get the strongest of qualifying runs, but that number 9 machine came back with a vengeance and eventually came through with a race victory, having to outlast the likes of Renato Postigo and Guillermo Alvarez till the very end. It was Seth who was able to get it done and pull through for another victory on the campaign. He's been the most successful at road courses all season long, and looking to do it once again, bundling up his stuff, getting that ready for the long haul. This is almost a practice run of sorts. If you can get it all dialed in here, then you'll be much quicker till the end. Everyone is presumably going to come down a pit road for a fresh set of Goodyear rubber, so strategy is going to be equalized. Take your time, be patient, and get ready for the big run as we expect to see a caution within the next 10 laps. And looking further back in the most intense battle right now on the track, Luis Caballero going to find himself now just behind Ryan Farrell. Farrell is going to be just about a second ahead in that number 91 machine, but Caballero is closing in, and all of a sudden it looks like the 91 is on pace for his best run of the season. The way things are going right now, it could be that way, up from, of course, the 8th spot, as we mentioned, now into 7th. 6th place is held by that number 93, but has not given it up just yet for good reason. turn. No direct pressure, but lap times will show you the big difference. That time by, admittedly, Ryan Farrell was the quicker of the two and gained some time back, a half second to be exact. So maybe Luis Caballero wearing out his welcome and wearing those tires up at the same time. Gonna have to worry about that a bit more as he dives deep into the final chicane. Gonna get it through the apex and put the power back down, and by the start-finish line, put it up to about 90 miles an hour and keep it moving all the same. Right now, these two drivers going to separate themselves a bit more. That time by, though, look like Farrell was only slightly quicker. The margins are becoming that much less. A mistake here in a road course can be easily redeemed if you have one good lap compared to the rivals that you are racing. Now, Caitlin Hyde is slowly but surely seeing her lead for the third place drop down, but she's also putting pressure on Ross Cato, which means that Seth not only has the number 11 to chase after, but the number 12. Nicholas Ward did have some trouble, keeps it going yet again. Nice and smooth recovery for Ward to keep it straight all the same. He lost about 3 seconds on his average pace this lap, but still keeps himself there in 12th. Further back up in the field, you'll see right now Caitlin Height and Sam Nito working each other over. Actually, that's going to be Ross Cato in specific right now. Sam Nito jumps up into 10th as we keep an update on that pole sitter, but as Seth Well keeps himself quick, he's got a chance to take not only one, but a second spot at the same time, and that's the big benefit of having that clean air and getting yourself sorted up for a battle without being directly behind another driver. Equipment's going to be one of the biggest factors of this race from start to finish, and right now, if you can manage it better, you'll have the advantage till the very end. Now, Caitlin Height going to be in a bit more trouble. Closing rate is quick. Seth Well drops it down low. Number 9, number 11 working each other up to the high side and nearly working off the banking and find themselves going down the Spectrum Mobile straightaway here. Well gets that spot, and now it's going to be Seth in third, chasing down Ross Cato, and while Cato had some pressure from Caitlin Height before she let off, and now a new driver taking the reins in third to challenge for that second spot. Some changes in the running order with 26 races in. Don Stevenson still chasing his very first win of the season. Toward this end of the season, of course, if you want to get a win, it's best to do it now. If you haven't done so, a clutch victory to lock yourself into the playoffs is a fantastic storyline to follow. And while it has been, of course, challenging for Stevenson to make his way through the playoffs without a victory, he's been class of the field of those who have not gotten a checkered flag. He and Ross Cato have shown what it's like to get through with intense competition all season long, despite the fact they both not yet gotten it done at the checkered flag. Simply a difference in the way you got to race it in that circumstance, and so far this 47 holding on very well, knowing this could be the best chance he has to make it not only into the round of 8 but go to the season finale as a championship contender. Now he's going to lead the way by 6 seconds, but Seth Well is gaining and finds himself in the back bumper of Ross Cato as we speak. That time by, the drivers were still running within the 121s for the most part. It looks like Caitlin Height dropping down to the low 122s, and it looks like it's going to be a 122.728 for her that time. Guillermo Alvarez ran a 123.115, so tire wear is coming into play. Not as big as we expected so far, but we still have a ways to go in this run and the next to find out the true effects of burning up your Goodyear tires as the night goes on. Seth Well going to be 0.3 of a second back on Ross Cato, and they're still going to be there fighting for the podium spots. Take a look off the back bumper, the number 12 machine, as Seth Well just got to him out of the chicane. And when this number 9 machine is chasing you down on the road course, there is very little you can do. He's one of the fastest drivers night in, night out. And when it comes down to turning left and right, he is nearly second to none. Right now, of course, second to one driver in Don Stevenson. But Ross Cato has no choice but to let that number 9 go through. He's got the Napa know-how and gets by yet again. It's going to be Seth Well up in a second, Ross Cato then the third, and it'll be Caitlin Height, position number 4. Just like that, 16 laps in, another big change up at the head of the field, and Caitlin Height is now going to be going for third. She lets Seth Noel do the work for her, and now is a shot to get right back on Ross. Battle for third. It looked like it was over for a brief moment, but Caitlin Height comes back in, and she's on the move, chasing down that number 12 machine at light speed, making up 10th after 10th after 10th. Going through turns 1 and 2 in the oval sector once more. The first, of course, chicane of the two, more commonly known as the bus stop here, and it's all about making it through without any trouble. Stop and go penalties, they can kill your run, and even though no driver up in front has faced them, some drivers like Nicholas Ward having some trouble early in making this first chicane. If you don't make the bus stop, it sets yourself up for a bad sequence of corners, and you have to reset yourself for the next lap, and that is a challenge in itself. So now Caitlin Height's gonna have to lay back, get through the final front stretch chicane, and go from there. Hitting each and every apex is so critical to maximizing your speed too. She slightly missed a curb, and here at Charlotte, you want to eat those red and white curbs up. You do not want to touch the blue curbs. They will send you up and over. Not necessarily in these next-gen machines, but in iRacing, you can see those sausage curves, as they're called, send drivers up and over in different aerodynamic packages. The NASCAR 87 package, the Legacy package with the Chevy Monte Carlo, the Ford Thunderbird, and I believe now they've got editions of both Dodge and Pontiac. They will be flipped up and over if you take those corners incorrectly, and you'll have no choice but to reset your car and send it back to pit road. Now, no faster pairs in the Integrity Octane Series, as it is in the entirety of the Integrity Racing League. One and done. You've got one car you roll out with, and that's that, and you go from there, understanding that you got to keep everything you got calm and clean till the very end. Right now, Caitlin Height remains on the back bumper of Ross Cato, misses it, and it looks like the bus stop will not be to her liking. Caitlin Height's not going to be able to make it through. All of a sudden fades back, and now Ross Cato gets a free second ahead of the number 11. That's what we mentioned about missing that bus stop, so critical to keeping the pressure on. It looks like it got to her there. And now, from putting on the offense, she'll have to slowly but surely weave her way through the front stretch chicane. It looks like Nick is going to be getting closer to that number 4. And it looks like for Caitlin Height, that number 11, chasing very, very hard, and it's going to come back to bite her. Just like that, the Javelin machine fades back to outside the podium by a vast quantity of seconds. 4 seconds separate her and Ross Cato now. Ross is going to be solidly inside the top 3 as they come to our stage break very, very soon. Looking up in front of the field, Don Stevenson leads the way. No competition right now, but it looks like Seth Well is clearly quicker. Half a second a lap faster each and every time by. That time Drew was able to gain exactly a half second, 121.4 versus a 120.9. So despite some drivers wearing out tire, the number 9 continues to get quicker. Luis Caballero having trouble, now down to 8th, and Luis gonna have a little bit of an issue getting slowly but surely back on the way. 91 gonna stall out for a moment, now gets back through, getting back on the track in the 9th position with now some pressure from Sam Nito. Sam's gonna be only about 2.5 seconds back as he blazes through, trying to get back up to the single digits before we have our stage caution. Great recovery for Nito to get inside the top 10 from 17th after the first lap. Now has a chance, a fighting chance that is, to get up into 9th. Luis Caballero immediately going to find himself off of the racing circuit, and it looks like that will be a manual disconnection. So the number 91 machine disconnects from the racing circuit, leaves just like that, and all of a sudden Sam Nito promoted up into 9th, getting that spot and putting himself up into the single digits. Second retiree of the day, and that's going to be Luis Caballero in the number 91. Don Stevenson leads him through 19 laps in, but looking further back, now 2.5 seconds adrift. Seth Noel is going to be there in the runner-up spot, gets even closer lap after lap. Another close battle to watch right now as we look further back. Nicholas Ward going to be chasing down the number 2 machine of Sam Nito. Jorge Canales also there as well. 3 cars fighting to stay inside the top 10. Bonus points on the line. And of 3 drivers we're looking at, only 1 is championship eligible, and that is Sam Nito. So this number 2 machine knows these points will matter the most to him if he can hold on to them. But you know, Nicholas Ward and Jorge Canales, regardless of where they are in the playoff picture, if they're in or out of it, they want to be inside the top 10 as well. It's a race you don't give up for your other competitors, and it looks like it's going to be one driver down to pit road. Seth Well is in this time by first competitive pit stop of the day, and he opts to sacrifice his run here in the first stage. Goes down low. Caitlin Height will come with him. Just like that, pit stop is going to be in session here. The number 11 machine fading back through the running order. Seth Well goes right there with her. First two have come down to pit road. 20 laps in, pit stops are now going to be on the move, and your first two drivers in from just outside the podium in Caitlin Height and second place in Seth Well. New tires going to be applied, and they'll be back on the roll as the number 9 gets rolling. So does the number 11. Just like that, the Chevy and the Camry get moving all the same. And so two drivers come down to pit road, making a third. That's going to be Bobby Rossi this time by another driver comes through. Ross on the brink of going one lap down though, so he's out of winning contention at least for the moment, but either way he puts himself down to pit road to ensure he's got a shot for the remainder of the race. Now Don Stevenson in a bit of a different predicament here, strategy changing all around him, and he might have a better chance of getting the overall win if he comes down to pit road. With so many fast drivers coming through, it looks like Don Steven will opt to mimic them, coming down to pit road this time by first pit stop for the 47, and he's led every lap of the 20 so far this race, but that will change. Coming across the line for the number 12 of Ross Cato, he is getting even closer to the start-finish line, and he will lead him through lap 21 of 55. Now we'll see as they come through the Tums Heartburn turn, will this number 12 opt to go for the stage win, or will he pass the torch to another driver behind him? Don Stevenson's down to pit road this time by, it looks like he's down again, so some trouble on his pit stop, and he's going to have to come through once more. Lucky for him, he's going to have the opportunity to make that mistake, and it looks like the 47's out and on the way. 47 is through. Ryan Farrell's on the move. Tom Wetmore now going to be scored just within the top 5, and with some big time shuffling with 2 laps to go in the stage, it's an uncertainty who will try to make it and who will not. Guillermo Alvarez is still on the way. He just had a bit of a bobble but keeps it straight, and now we'll see whether or not Ross Cato opts to come through the pit road this time by. As they go through turns 1 and 2, it's going to be the bus stop and then the final decision. If not, it's going to be 1 lap to go in the stage, led by Ross Cato. He looks to firmly have the stage win locked up, and for Fast Forward Esports, he's looking to make it until the end of the stage and push that fast forward button, hoping to go to the end. 21 laps in of 55 so far. It's been Ross Cato leading all of 2 laps as they come across the stripe, and dominance from Don Stevenson gives way to this number 12 machine having the race lead when it matters the most in the stage. White flag is out here from Charlotte in our first stage of the day. It's your only stage caution, your only caution of the race, and now it's going to be Ross Cato leading them through, looking to get a stage win when it matters the most in the championship picture. Now, keeping an eye on the drivers involved in your championship running, this is how it looks going into the night. You can see right now who is involved in the championship race, guys who are already locked in. You saw Caitlin Height locked herself in, winning at Talladega. Those in the green are still in the picture, of course. It's going to be drivers such as those who have been running consistent without a victory. Jacob Fife, the top of which. Blue is going to be your man on the bubble, and that, of course, is going to go to Guillermo Alvarez. Then you'll see your red, which is the drivers who are still with a fighting chance, and the drivers in black are no longer eligible for the championship race. So as they come through this time by, it's the number 12 of Ross Cato looking to secure some extra points to fight for the cause. It's gonna be only a few more turns, and then the stage win will be his. Sam Nito, it looks like he has a bit of a spin yet again, gets it going. 9th place right now for Sam after the pit stop shuffle, and as they come across the line this time through, green and checkered, it will wave for the driver, the number 12 machine. Ross Cato will win the stage here in Charlotte and get it done at the Roval. First stage of the day, and the caution is expected right about now. Green and checkered waves for your stage winner, Ross Cato, getting it done over the remainder of the field, and we expect our caution to fly momentarily. And the caution now is going to wave lap 23 of 55. First stage is over. Ross Cato will win it and ahead of the number 4 machine. That's going to be Nick Tarabuck right in there, second spot. Guillermo Alvarez then in third. Don Stevenson fourth, and Tom Wetmore then in fifth. Seth Wells now going to be scored in sixth, with Nicholas Ward in seventh and Jorge Canales in eighth, as Cody Smith is then in ninth. And to round out the top 10, it will be Caitlin Height. Caution waves as Caitlin Height makes it across the line, but Ross Cato is your stage winner, and the 12 machine gets it done. But it's not yet come down to pit road, so keep an eye on that. We're still expecting a stop from your current race leader. He has not yet come through, so he'll be going down to pit road to get that first fresh set of good years, get the fuel worked down as well. Just like that, strategy is still a big time in play, and as they come through this time by, the green flag will be waving at about lap number 27. Caution out for the first stage break of the day here. Drivers are already lined up for another pit stop. Some drivers, they've already taken that first stop on strategy. A few others, like your current race leader, they have not. So a mix-up as drivers are getting bunched up right now. You'll see there is your second place man, and your third follows after. They're all still getting collected. That's how far drivers get spread out here as the racing goes on. Looks like your top 15 separate by 1 minute and 5 seconds right now. So Ross Cato's going to have to slow down big as they make it through this time around. iRacing official pace car eventually catches back up, and Ross Cato right now still waiting for a little while until that pit road entry is going to be in play. So we'll get that number 12 machine in our broadcast booth and find out what it's like for our current stage winner. Ross Cato getting it done and winning the stage here tonight in Charlotte, but it looks like, as a matter of fact, he might not be available for comment. Do not see him there inside the chat room with all the other drivers, so Ross right now hoping to run it solo and not going to be working with anyone else, not in a voice chat as it stands, and running alone. Round 26, he'll be out with no voice chat, working this race without any other communication. So unfortunately, your stage winner interview will not come tonight, at least for the time being. Maybe we'll get him in later in the race when it comes to our results. But so far, not the case, as Ross Cato leads the way, and he has it 24 laps in of 55. Going to be Nick Tarbuck then in second, and Guillermo Alvarez in third, Don Stevenson fourth, and Tom Wetmore to round out your top 5 here in the Roval. So far, so good up in the front of the field, and with the time we've got before pit stops become part of the race, and we'll give you a brief promotional break courtesy of our friends at iRacing Motorsport Simulations. Celebrating a big night in the NASCAR Hall of Fame, iRacing bringing to you the top level of esports simulation on an online platform. Tonight, the eNASCAR iRacing Coca-Cola Cup Series, they're having their final race of the 2023 season. 4 drivers brought to Charlotte for the NASCAR Hall of Fame's special presentation of the season finale at the Homestead Miami Speedway. We'll bring you a brief presentation from iRacing as we bring it back, as pit stops will be underway momentarily from the Charlotte Motor Speedway. This has been round 26 from the Octane Series at the Charlotte Roval, and we'll be right back after this brief message.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
And as we step away briefly here on FTN, we also like to thank our official graphic design partners here on the channel. Tango Paints, providing high quality graphic designs, iRacing paint schemes, and liveries for a price you can't beat. Offer start at $50, and if you want to find a way to contact them, be sure to check out Tango Paints on Twitter for more information. Become part of the Tango Paint family and represent your sim racing identity. Tolo and the entire Tango Paints team creating fantastic work all throughout iRacing for some notable figures. Road to Pro driver from round 1, Ryan Andrew, McConey Setup Shop as a whole, Ancient World, and Joey Stone. So some big iRacers, they trust Tango Paints with their work, and they never disappoint. Check out Tango Paints after tonight's broadcast here on FTN, the official graphic design supplier and partner of FTN Live on the Fireball Talks NASCAR YouTube channel. iRacing official pace car leads them down the back straightaway, and it looks like Don Stevenson able to reclaim that lead, of course, for those drivers who did not come down to pit road this time around. Seth Well came down to pit road again, now is an even fresher set of Goodyear rubber, and puts himself in the 5th spot, taking the best of both worlds. He has that track position, and now has new rubber too, so he's only got to carve through 4 other drivers if he wants to get to that race lead. And even though he has not yet led a lap on the day, I'd argue if Don Stevenson has any competition, it would be this number 9 team, and while they have not shown what they've got under the hood just yet, watch and see. I think we're going to find a lot more about this number 9 as the race goes on. So keep your eyes peeled for the Napa Know-How Chevy Camaro, because Seth Well is chasing victory lane once again. And while he's already firmly in a spot to go ahead to the next round, the round of 8, he'd like to get it back up there, up in front with another win in the books. And it's going to be Seth Well, Ross Cato, Nicholas Ward, Jorge Canales, and Nick Tarbuck and Eric McFarland. That's the man who rounds out your top 10. And Eric McFarland, Cody Smith is going to be 11th. Alvin Rawell is then going to be 12th. And it's going to be Tom Wetmore in 13th. 1 lap to green. This time by, we'll be setting ourselves up to go to the halfway marker at lap number 28. And we've already made it through half of this showdown. The iRacing official pace car seeing itself back on the track for the final time today. And the first time we saw a formation lap go to a racing action, he was a bit of trouble. Sam Nito faded back big, now finds himself 1 lap down with damage. He's going to stay on pit road now, so his night has gone from bad to worse for the pole sitter. We didn't expect it to get dicey, and all of a sudden, things have turned sour for that number 2, and now going to be on pit road yet again. 1 lap down as it stands, so maybe not much more hope left for the number 2 crew as they come through this time by the field, leaving that team in the dust. Don Stevenson, the big beneficiary, was able to lead almost every lap of the stage and is back up in front yet again. Now is Caitlin Height to his side. She'll be in 2nd. Bobby Ross is going to be 3rd, and Ryan Farrell is then position number 4. Double file, they'll all get in formation, and it looks like right now 17 drivers in the session, 15 on the lead lap, and right now they're all in formation, get set to go at it once again. Stevenson, he's led the most laps today. He's up there in the lead. Ross Cato, the only other driver to lead a lap who got that stage win, is still just outside of the top 5. So if this first stage goes anything like this, of course, the second and vice versa, we should be seeing Ross Cato, Caitlin Height, Seth Well, and Don Stevenson all competing for the top spots, if not the win itself. We'll see, though, if these drivers can keep it up there as they were before and try to do it all over again. Backstretch, though, climb through. It's going to be the bus stop, 3 and 4, and the front stretch chicane, and then we'll do away with the iRacing official pace car and let the drivers do the rest of the work all night long. Stevenson goes up top again. It's going to be Caitlin Height on the top side, even higher, and as they go through the chicane, one more time to get to your racing very, very soon. 27-0 of 555. We made it quite far already, and 26 rounds into the 2023 season. This is the final chance to lock into the round of 8, the round of 12. Its first elimination race is tonight, and the playoffs are coming down the home stretch here in the Octane Series. Only 4 more races to cap off a 30-race campaign this year, so if you made it this far, time to get to the end. And Stevenson wants to punch his ticket tonight in America's home for racing. Gets to jump into the final chicane and gets the green flag going. Restart with lap 27 on the board. We're back on the way from Charlotte, led by Don Stevenson. And already some passes being made as we just get back into our groove. Don Stevenson got that race lead. And then from there, you're going to see Caitlin Height, Ryan Farrell, and Bobby Ross. As Ross is already going to be passed multiple times over. Ryan Farrell makes it by. So does Seth Well. And the track position gamble for Bobby Ross. Already looks like he's having some trouble here in the short term. So not good at all for that number 44 crew. Just like that, Ross is going to fade back into fifth. Going through the first chicane, the bus stop here in Charlotte. He's going to be down to fifth, and from starting within that top three range, it looks like already some positions being shuffled as Ross Cato's there as well. Positions going up and down the ladder as Don Stevenson finds himself in a comfortable spot. That is first, still chasing his first Integrity Racing League win of 2023, and now makes it around yet again to make it 28 laps in of 55. 28 laps remaining, and we've gone through the first half of this race quite smooth. Not bad at all driving from everyone in the field. They've kept it very clean, save for a few incidents. This start was much better than the most recent, and now with this one in mind, clean racing's going to be developing even more. Ryan Farrell and Caitlin Height now going to be fighting for that second spot, and Seth Well is going to put himself in the mix as well. Don't count out Seth when he's up there inside the top five. He's almost always going to get a position or two before he calls it quits. Ryan Farrell's got some damage though, so maybe that right side going to be a bit less connected. Maybe some aerodynamic deficiencies, but he'll drop down low to get by Caitlin Height. Caitlin goes to the high side. She's got some trouble. Let both drivers she was fighting with go right through. And now it's Ryan Farrell up in a second. Seth Well there in third. Top four comprised of drivers inside the playoff fight. Fifth is going to be held by Bobby Ross, and then from there, sixth is Ross Cato. Seventh is Nicholas Ward. Eighth is Jorge Canales. Ninth is going to be Nick Tarabuk, and it's going to be 10th to Tom Wetmore. Come through yet again. It's going to be the number 43 machine wiggling a bit more than Seth Well that time around. Battle for second might be the only thing holding up Seth from fighting for that race lead here. Trying to get by the ever-present number 43. And right now, Ryan Farrell running better than he has all night long. That time by a 120.777. Not his fastest lap, but was up there one of the top five quickest he's put down all night long. So he's about at his prime. Even if he's not necessarily putting down the absolute fastest laps, he's going to be able to get into a consistent string that's not too far off the best he's done all throughout the day. So don't slouch in this number 43 machine. He is clearly still picking up the pace, but Seth Well knows no matter who's picking up the pace, he's been the king of the road courses all season long. Hasn't gotten that chance to find himself up there alone, but that number 9 has had the raw pace, and as it stands, he has the second quickest lap overall of this race. The fastest, though, does go to Don Stevenson, admittedly. Don is not going to be at all out of the picture, even though Seth was longer and quicker when it came to the long run, stretching out the equipment. It looks like Stevenson's just about as fast. That time by was his fastest lap of the race, a 1:20.011. So wow, Don Stevenson, he's picking it up too. You can't deny that these drivers are going to the limit. And just like that, Stevenson's going to come around the stripe for another hot lap, 1:20.117, quicker than the field. And if that was the overall fastest lap he'd set, it would still be the fastest lap of the race. That's how quick Stevenson is right now, and he's making time on the field. 2 seconds flat to Ryan Farrell, and almost 2.5 then to Seth Well right there on the back bumper. Caitlin Height's going to be fourth, and Bobby Ross will be fifth, with Ross Cato then position number 6, and Nicholas Ward is then in 7th. Jorge Canales is going to be 8th, and Nick Tarbuck's going to be 9th, with some trouble for Alan Rawell. Alan is alone right now, so nobody else to be involved with, but looking some losing time as he came across the stripe. Nothing major, so he keeps it on the way. Up in front is going to be Don Stevenson, here to stay, and he finds himself the leading driver, and Ryan Farrell is putting down a flyer right now. He's nearly on his fastest overall pace. We're getting our timing and scoring indicators fed to us F1 style. Yellow is a bit below average, red is far below average and indicates a wreck, green is above average, and purple is the fastest the driver is going. And for a good majority of this lap, while he settled down to the green pace, he was up there in the purple. So Ryan Farrell is clearly doing as good as he possibly can right now, and as he comes through the final chicane, he's very close to making his all-time fastest lap around Charlotte. At the line, Farrell's going to bring it home 0.7 of a second faster than average, but it was only a 1:24, so losing some time in the second half of the lap, but either way, very impressive as he keeps it going there in second despite some damage. Eric McFarland with trouble that time by. He'll come down to pit road, 33 machine, losing some pace, drops it down to the bottom, and Eric's going to put himself into pit road earlier than expected. So 5 laps into this run, McFarland with some issues and makes it way down low. Pit road going to have that 33 machine. It looks to be the only driver there right now. It looks like Sam Nito got back on the track in 16th. Eric McFarland, though, is going to be set to fade back at least 1 lap down if he spends any more time on pit road. 33 is down and in on his own, and just like that, some trouble brewing as we look at a battle right now fiercely just inside of the top 10. Jorge Canales, Nick Tarbuck, and Tom Wetmore all there together, and with 25 laps to go, they're fighting for the scraps of this top 10, looking to get inside the single digits, looking to stay ahead of guys like Guillermo Alvarez and Jacob Fife. You want to stay inside this top 10 if you want any chance at gaining points on the field. Right now, points, points, points. That is the most important part of this race, and you can't get those points, you are going to find a lot of trouble as the day goes on. If you can't get the points, you can't get the positions, you can't make it to the next round at round of 8. And Don Stevenson, he's had no trouble, and with defense from Ryan Farrell behind, he might be able to cruise home the victory, but that's if Seth Neal, of course, Seth Well will say, finds a way through, maybe sends it down to the bottom side and puts Ryan Farrell in a bit of a situation where he's going to have to go high and go out the way. Right now, it's going to be nail to nail, nail-biting racing, that's for sure. Farrell's going to keep himself on the apex, and it's going to be Seth Well going high. Number 9 machine goes up into the top side, and that's a huge error, and that might have been make or break right there, and doesn't look like it. Of course, they're battling for second. But that could have been the race-winning move right there. Number 9 machine with a huge mistake, nearly skates off in the grass, loses time big regardless, and just like that, it's going to be Seth Well finding himself in third, about a second off of Ryan Farrell, and most importantly, 3 seconds away from Don Stevenson. He's going to have to go all out to gain that time right back, and just like that, the number 9 machine is going to have to let loose if he wants any chance at getting back up there with time to spare. Don Stevenson leads him through yet again. 24 laps to go, heading down only 23, and the final dash is upon us. No caution from here on out. It's all green till the end. You cannot make a major mistake, slipping up once or twice in a very small fashion, twitching the wheel, overcorrecting slightly. That's acceptable, but if you spin it, you go around, you get involved with another driver, that's about your race, just like that. So you cannot afford to lose your racing the moment that we see an issue. Could be major, could be minor. These drivers have to make their best effort to avoid conflict. If there's a pass to be made, you gotta make it clean. Hope to avoid the risky racing that has sometimes been seen in road course action late in the going. Drivers begin to push and shove each other, especially on the sim, and you don't want to see that with so much on the line. A major prize, the biggest in league history in over a decade of racing, the Integrity Racing League, providing the biggest prize of its equipment. Of course, it's next level racing's equipment. It's a huge opportunity. These drivers don't want to waste it. 23 laps to go, heading down to 22 laps to go, and it's always here in FTN, provided to you by TrackCams22.com with over 100 track and car combinations for your camera needs, broadcasting, photography, anything else. Visit TrackCams22.com for more information as we crank it up uninterrupted with the best camera platform here on iRacing. And with only 18 laps remaining, Don Stevenson finds himself out in front, and you might have seen Seth Wells in trouble. Finds himself now in 5th at the same time as Don Stevenson's made his gap even bigger. This number 9 machine has faded back even further, and now going to be fighting with Bobby Ross. And I'll tell you this much, we saw Bobby Ross drop like a rock on that first lap of the restart, but I have to say this number 44 machine has been able to pick it back up and make quite a few spots at the same time. Now Ross Cato's going to shuffle it out, and as soon as we say that, he's in a bit of trouble, but he found himself up there in the top 5 for several consecutive laps, and it looks like now as Seth takes him by, the rest of the field has a feeling they can do it at the same time too. So Ross, he's still up there in the top 5 fight. I would not give up on this vid at 44. Might have misjudged the situation at first, but now he's up there still battling until it's all over. Alan Rawwell in a bit of trouble once again, keeps it straight, looks like a minor issue for him. Stop and go, he'll roll it again. No trouble in specific there. Ryan Farrell's going to find himself now in the 2nd spot. It'll be Caitlin Height in 3rd, but Don Stevenson has been the man so far tonight and leads the way yet again here in Charlotte. Has led almost every lap with the exception of those that Ross Cato led. It has been the Don Stevenson show, and that number 47 machine, he loves the fact that he's got that clean air and track position. That's his biggest advantage right now. It isn't even, of course, the fact that he's been quick all night long. It isn't at all entirely per se the fact that he worked out strategy, because a lot of drivers did strategy the same way as him. He has simply been able to connect himself to the track that much better, and even when he was under fire from Seth Well there, he came back faster. This number 47 machine, he's been able to put a fire in that number 47 Camaro, and now Don Stevenson's got a shot to do it. Put home his first win of the 2023 season, and when it matters most, walk off the round of 12 as a locked-in driver and change the championship picture all over again. Only 17 laps remain for Don Stevenson to make a huge difference in this field. It's going to be a big moment to remember if this man in the 47 can get it done and find himself in the round of 8 with only laps to spare. This season came down to these 55 laps for Stevenson and many other drivers. If he had a bad race tonight, his year would effectively be over. But tonight, that doesn't look to be the case at all. He has been fantastic, consistently quick lap after lap, has the fastest lap of the race, and even has the 2nd fastest lap of the race too. And that is with stacked competition. Farrell, Noel, Caitlin Height, Ross Cato, Nicholas Ward up there too. All these drivers who are fighting for the win, whether or not they're in the playoffs, they are rapid quick, and they're putting on the fight. Even if they're not directly up there right now, they have been always on the course competition lap after lap. Doesn't matter if they're not close now, but when they were battling to no end. And right now it's going to be Caitlin Height who's going to be in 3rd, 40 laps in of 55. It's going to be Seth Well then in 4th, Ross Cato in 5th. Look further back to a big battle right now between Jorge Canales and Nick Tarbuck, and it's going to be Nick who finds himself in the 7th spot with Nicholas Ward just ahead. Fighting is still going on throughout the field for each and every spot. Doesn't matter if you're up there inside the top 5 or if you're down outside of the top 12. They're still battling, and even though it might not seem major outside of those leading positions, it is still a huge deal to pick off spots and make time up when it matters the most. 16 laps to go. Nicholas Ward, who was oh so close to locking himself in on a walk-off race in the regular season, he was brilliant at Bristol, one of the fastest drivers all night long, but eventually restarts took their toll. Tom Wetmore came through for his 5th win of the season. And while Wetmore has not quite had that luck on the year ever since that point, that 5th victory really solidifying his case in championship favored heading into this round. He's got a lot of points to fall back on, so not the biggest worry for Wetmore. He just has to keep it consistent till the end. Maybe pick up a few more spots, but otherwise it's a different situation for the driver who got bounced out on that same race. And Ward, he's been quick this season. He's had chances to win races, was particularly quick at a track like Richmond where he got disconnected, had connection issues at other tracks such as New Hampshire, very fast at Bristol, just didn't go his way, and now tonight he's in 6th here at the Roval, a very driver-dependent track. With 15 laps to go, he's still fighting for all that he can do inside that number 97. Don Stevenson leads the way over Ryan Farrell, then in 2nd it's going to be Caitlin Height in position number 3, and she'll be in 3rd ahead of Seth Well, who's then in 4th. 5th is going to be occupied by Ross Cato in number number 12 machine, and Ross Cato is going to be now a second ahead of Nicholas Ward in that number 97. Then it'll be Nick Terbuck there in 7th, and Jorge Canales in 8th, with Jacob Fife rounding out your 9th spot, and Tom Wetmore them in 10th. 11th's going to be held by Bobby Ross, and from there on out, it'll be Cody Wetmore. Cody and Wetmore, who were fighting before, got them a bit tangled up. It is now Cody Smith alone in 12th, not fighting with Tom Wetmore no longer. He's going to be in 12th in the Next Level Racing, number 18. And for Next Level Racing, these final few playoff races have been a fantastic display of what these drivers will do to come home with the grand prize, a $2,000 sim rig, courtesy of our official partners here in the Integrity Racing League. Since 2009, creating high-quality sim racing performance products for dedicated sim racers who deserve nothing but the best. Next Level Racing is the place to go for all of your simulation racing needs, and if you want to check out their hardware and all of their performance products, check out nextlevelracing.com after tonight's broadcast. We'll be back after our first promotional break of the day with 14 laps to go, courtesy of our friends at nextlevelracing.com. Coming back now, 13 laps to go on the board from the Charlotte Roval. Cody Smith is going to be in 12th, as you mentioned, fighting previously with Tom Wetmore, but now outside of the top 10. Number 18 machine's going to be outside of the top 10, but still the final man on the lead lap, as Don Stevenson has been on a warpath. He's been able to take down drivers lap after lap after lap. Now a total of, looks like a total of 6 drivers in specific who are at least 1 lap down. Make it 7 with the addition of Sam Nito, and just like that, he's only got 12 drivers left on the leading group. So it's been a very, very dominant night for Don Stevenson, been able to control this field from the very beginning, and I don't think that's going to change as the racing continues here. He looks to be firmly in control. That time by Ryan Farrell was a bit quicker by a 1/10 of a second, but that won't happen again. Look at that. Ryan Farrell bounces up to the wall, and all the chances he had of taking that time back might have just washed away. Hits the wall again, and this is what happens in the heat of the moment, pushing for that race win. It looks like Farrell's going to make contact once, twice, and luckily not make it 3 times the charm. But Farrell, who is gaining some time, immediately finds himself in the wall twice over, and with 12 laps to go, that is a very, very dire signal for the number 43 crew, who are fighting to keep themselves inside the playoff picture. Second place has been a great night for them, but still, it might not be enough given where other drivers are. Caitlin Hyde was in 3rd, already locked in. Seth Well in 4th, already high up himself. Ross Cato fades back to 5th here. It's going to be coming down to the final points calculations. A lot of drivers still in with a chance here, and doing the math live, it's going to update lap after lap. Bonus points have mostly gone the way of Don Stevenson. I believe Ross Cato, if anyone else got more bonus points than Don, it would be Ross, but he got those from the stage break. It's going to be Don Stevenson getting those victory bonus points, which will matter that much more and carry a lot more weight in the final stretch. So it's the best of both worlds for these drivers, and maybe there's one world that's a bit better and getting that checkered flag overall. But Ross Cato playing the strategy game as well as he needed to gain more spots, put that time down when it mattered the most, and now the number 12 machine of Ross Cato is there in 5th with the extra points, and he might find himself clear to go to the round of 8 to finish off the championship tour, as Nick Terbuck is going to have a bit of issue. That's the number 6 machine who saves it. Nice slide there for Nick to keep on going, but it looks like it could have been a much worse. We've seen drivers sliding out of control out of the front straightaway. Luckily for Nick, wasn't that dire, keeps it going. Not a major issue there with 11 laps to go on the board. Looking further back, Nicholas Ward going to be fighting with Jacob Fife here. Taking a look on board with Nicholas, and you'll see how he tries to clog down league owner in the Pro Powder and Paint number 36. The biggest separations always come through the oval portions of the track, and we'll see how deep Nicholas Ward opts to dive it. Starts braking at the 5 here to get a much better entry through. It looks like Jacob Fife is going to go very risky on that entry, which compromises his exit, and that might not be that major that time around. Looks like he still is able to pull back some time, but either way, Nicholas Ward there, he is slowly but surely making more time around. That time by, though, not a major difference, and the drivers get even closer down the front straightaway, and with 10 laps to go, Don Stevenson maintains his control here in the Roval. 10 laps left, going down to the single digits next, and it's been Don Stevenson's night so far, leading over 40 of the laps we have run to this point. Dominance for Don Stevenson was not the most expected route of this race coming into the day, but all of a sudden, this number 47 has come alive and now leads it with Farrell 5 seconds back, Caitlin Height 10 seconds back, and Sethwell then in position number 4, a total of 15 seconds adrift. So it is really going to be coming down to whether or not Don Stevenson can pull it all together at the end of this one. Looks like he's got a lot of the racing out of the way, not only in terms of laps, but in terms of the track position. But that time by, Ryan Farrell has trouble, and the number 93 goes down to the inside of the track. Ryan Farrell going to immediately take it down a pit road. Trouble brewing, and it looks like Farrell might have seen his podium run fade out of view. Take a look at this. And no wiggle out of turns 1 and 2 here, but Ryan Farrell immediately disconnects. Trouble is indeed going to brew for this number 93 team, and he needed this run. Now going to be outside of the top 12 if Sam Nito and the light course still on track get to him. Farrell goes through the bus stop, makes it around, but contact is going to make him spin loose, and the front end contact is all she wrote there. That damage is crucial. And that's going to be it. Ryan Farrell opts to take it down at pit road and immediately disconnect. That's going to be his night. And just like that, Don Stevenson now has that much more room to work with. 9 seconds ahead of your leading driver. Well, nobody else is 9 seconds ahead of Stevenson. He's 9 seconds ahead of Caitlin Height. Ryan Farrell's race goes down the drain with only a few laps to go. 9 laps left here, and Cody Smith now going to find himself in 11th, gaining another position with attrition still in mind, and we'll bring you your second Next Level Racing promotional break of the day. Next Level Racing provides high-quality sim racing performance products for dedicated sim racers who deserve nothing but the best. And as they come through this time by, 9 laps to go, it's a certainty that Cody Smith is still trying to make up more time to keep himself inside the playoff race. Round of 8's a big deal with a championship prize in mind. If you want to check out all that Next Level Racing offers, be sure to look at nextlevelracing.com for more information about tonight's leading partner of the Integrity Octane Series. We'll be right back after this brief message, courtesy of nextlevelracing.com. Returning now with 8 laps to go on the board, single digits and still counting down for Don Stevenson, your race leader, coming around yet again on the start-finish line all on his own. 8 seconds of lead now to Caitlin Height. It looks like Caitlin has been clawing back a bit more, about 1 second last time by, and maybe there's a shot in the dark here, but the number 11 machine has to keep that pace each and every lap from here. Has to be substantially quicker, 49 laps in of 55 to make it happen. And with 7 laps to go, it still is possible, but it's going to take the fastest laps of her night to go for back-to-back race victories. All of a sudden, maybe Caitlin Height going to be in the picture, but it's going to take a lot more effort than one flying lap. So just like that, we might have another driver going for this race win, but still going to be 7 seconds ahead for Dawn Stevenson, an insurmountable gap for many. And if there's one big mistake for this number 11 team, it could be insurmountable for her too. So keep an eye out for whether or not that will become the case as she comes through the final portion until she goes to Oval 1 and 2, gets through the first inner road course segment, and then goes through the bus stop and a second chicane immediately thereafter. Has to chase down Dawn Stevenson. That's going to be a huge task to overcome as Jacob Fife now fights directly with Nicholas Ward. Looks like Ward's been able to make up that time, and now the number 97 machine is on the back bumper of Fife. All of a sudden now Jacob Fife gets the lunge out of the corner and through Oval 1 and 2 makes that time up once again. 36 machine runs it down the back straightaway and comes into our bus stop here with the advantage, but he's got pressure and now has to keep an eye on his rear view mirror as much as he looks up in front. Taking a look on board here with Jacob Fife. This is what's going on inside number 36 cockpit, and it looks like so far nice and smooth. Going through the front stretch chicane, but Nicholas Ward is trying to get that advantage out of each and every corner, lunging a bit further, diving a bit deeper, and it's gonna come back if there's any issue, but consequences so far haven't been all too major. Just driving his own race. Number 97 team looking good so far as they come into the inner road course segment, and they're using that banking, hitting those apexes, and they're almost dead even. That time by, though, Jacob Fife was about 0.2 of a second slower, so it is a certainty that Fife having some trouble. You can see that the right side damage is getting to him. Looking now at the rear view camera, this is our close-up drone shot. It'll show you, despite the damage, Fife still working the corners very well and gets to the wall here, which gives Ward another opportunity as they come through the oval, though. Fife immediately gets that jump, and he's a rocket ship when he gets out on the track here. That's been his biggest advantage over Nicholas Ward in this battle. Getting on to the fastest part of the track early gives you more speed, more time to run, and more time to get that momentum going until the end of the lap. The majority of the rest of the way after turn 1 of the oval is entirely the NASCAR portion. So you can use the throttle a lot more, be a bit more liberal when it comes to your usage of it, then back it down for the front stretch chicane and the bus stop too. So Jacob Fife getting that drop out of the gate and getting that speed up early keeps him still ahead with 5 laps remaining. 5 laps to go for Dawn Stevenson up in front here in his number 47 Chevrolet. And I'll tell you this much, if Stevenson's able to steal the deal with a 7-second advantage even still over the likes of course, Caitlin Height and Seth Well 18 seconds back, this is a tremendous victory for this team. Dawn Stevenson has not yet been able to get it done, but this is the night a streak could be snapped. And for one of the most successful drivers this season, it's quite odd that he hasn't gotten it done in victory lane. Honestly, it's a shock he hasn't been here before, and he's driving like he's done it before, so no worry about his expertise and his capabilities. But tonight, Dawn Stevenson looking to break into new worlds and get that checkered flag before it's too late. Final races of the season up ahead of us, only 4 more rounds in play, so if you can't make it through here and now, your season is as good as dead. Out 4 laps to go, Stevenson leads them through to lap number 51 of 55. Only 4 laps remaining on the day, and Cody Smith still going to be in 11th right now, but we'll bring you your final Next Level Racing promotional break of the night. 4 laps to go, and Next Level Racing is the official partner of the Integrity Racing League and the Octane Series as well throughout 2023, providing high-quality sim racing performance products for dedicated sim racers who deserve nothing but the best. Visit nextlevelracing.com for more information about the Integrity Racing League's official primary partner, providing a $2,000 sim rig and value as the overall prize for the 2023 Octane Series Championship. 4 laps to go this time by. We'll bring you your final promotional break of the day, courtesy of our friends at Next Level Racing. coming back now. 3 laps remaining for race leader Don Stevenson getting through the final laps of a grueling, physically intensive Charlotte Roval race. Only 1 caution, and from there on out, we've been going green flag racing. Fast, fun, and action-packed, and very few drivers have been able to survive to this point. Only 14 remain on the track due to various incidents. Minor, of course, not bringing out a caution, but otherwise, drivers who have made it this far know the end is within reach and a big opportunity to gain points and continue a climb through the round of 8. It is still in play. Of course, for the drivers who are here tonight, they know that their championship chances come down to this race. If they're not already locked in, things can shuffle big. So you need a top 5 to really be secure about it. Podium will be fantastic. And for Don Stevenson, who's coming in with not too many bonus points to spare, a win is what he desires. Getting it through 3 laps to go this time by. He has been able to pull it through almost every lap as your race leader, and he has controlled the majority of this event. Sethwell and Caitlin Height might have been quicker at times, but now with 2 laps remaining, Stevenson can put it on cruise control and go to the end in one piece. That would lock up the win and send them into the round of 8 with a checkered flag in hand. Stevenson's got that advantage, but let's look a bit further back in the field here with some battles. It's going to be Nick Terbuck now working off of Ross Cato, and these 2 drivers are going to be fighting each other for position number 4. Cato has it, Nick Terbuck wants it, and just like that, it's going to be Cato holding them through the first corner, as it's going to be another battle. It's Nicholas Ward and also Jorge Canales going at it at the same time. So battles are still being worked over here in Charlotte. Jorge Canales now finds himself in contention for position number 7. Ward slides up way high here, compromises the apex, and gets down to the bottom. Nice defensive run. Looks like it's going to be the 84. Not too happy. Going to have to back off there and let Nicholas Ward dive it deeper. Clearly, though, some signs of tire wear and overall a bit more aggression, burning out the equipment here for Ward, and that number 97 machine is going to have to pay the price sooner or later the way things are going. Don Stevenson going to be there up in front, but these battles are still brewing after about 30 seconds away from your race leader. Coming through, though, this time by Don Stevenson takes it down to the white flag with 1 lap to go in the Roval, and the 47 looking to walk off the round of 12 in style. Stevenson able to navigate nice and smooth. Jorge Canales is going to lose a lot of time there. He looks to have a very bad exit of the bus stop. It looks like he's now going to fade back deep into 8th. Tom Wetmore might have a piece at him, but it looks like Wetmore's still a bit further back. Battles are still going to be shuffling up and down, but the 84 might have to lock himself into 8th and go from there. Looking up in front, Nicholas Ward and Jacob Fife are still fighting. Put your attention back in front. Look at how close Caitlin Height is now. She finds herself now only 4 seconds away as Stevenson has truly put it down into cruise control to coast till the finish. Stevenson only has himself 2 more chicanes to go. First off is the bus stop, and it's going to be the final lap with Don Stevenson making it through this time by. Gets into the corner, nice and smooth. It's going to be a rock and roll entry and exit, and the number 47 got himself up in front, now with only 1 more corner to do it. The final chicane will separate Don Stevenson from victory, but not any longer. Walking off the round of 12, the 2023 winless streak will be over. Coming through the final chicane, Don Stevenson wins at America's Home for Racing and captures the checkered flag in the Roval. Welcome to the round of 8. The championship fight is still alive, and Stevenson wins to secure another chance at the title. Don Stevenson keeps his championship chances alive. The 47 will win from Charlotte and gets it done to the Roval. Magnificent performance, dominating Don Stevenson. Pulls it through and wins from Charlotte. Stevenson by 3.4 seconds over Caitlin Height, with Seth Well then in 3rd, Ross Cato 4th, and Nick Terbuck then in 5th. Jacob Fife is going to be 6th, with Nicholas Ward 7th, Jorge Canales 8th, and Tom Wetmore 9th, with Bobby Ross then rounding out the top 10. Going to be 11th, held by Cody Smith. Sam Nito then going to be 1 lap down in 12th. Eric McFarland 13th, Randy Fiash 14th, and Ryan Farrell 15th with Alan Ronwell position number 16. Then going to be Guillermo Alvarez in 17th, Luis Caballero is going to be in 18th, and Alan Dobbs finds himself 19th and last, not able to work it out after some early race troubles. And now for Stevenson, time to celebrate a tremendous race victory. Been waiting oh so long to get into victory lane. Now time to burn down the house as a winner for the first time, not only the Octane Series, not only in the league this year, but in the playoffs as well. When it matters the most, it is now Don Stevenson on top. He gets it through, leading nearly every lap tonight. Road course domination as Stevenson pulls it through to your start-finish line to burn down the house. And he flips it up and over, and Stevenson's upside down. And the celebration goes awry. Don Stevenson flips on his first attempt of getting the burnout going. Man, oh man, what a celebration. And he jumped for joy. Don Stevenson up in the air, and there's not much more he can do about that. And a burnout cut short, with Don Stevenson flipping to finish this race. And he's going to disconnect. Nothing more that he can do at that point. Man, what a way to end it. And Stevenson, with all the power that he's put through all race long, flips it over, and that will end his night. You can see by this point, he's already going to be putting himself upside down. We'll take it back 30 more seconds and find out just what happened. Instant replay as Don Stevenson tried to bring the celebration into motion. Freeze frame here. Watch this. We're taking a look back, quarter of a speed, and 47 pulls it up past the cones, and it looks like it revs it up too fast. And we mentioned you can get these things topsy-turvy at the Roval. We didn't quite expect it to be at the flat surface after the race is over. And Stevenson gets the power down, flips it immediately thereafter, and Don Stevenson, despite this flip, is your race winner. Up and over, immediately going for a wild ride, and he barrel rolls it off of the track entirely. What a celebration, and that's one way to stand out for your number 47 machine. Chaotic finish, but it was overall a calm race with a dominating atmosphere. Don Stevenson, domination here from the Charlotte Motor Speedway. The Roval seemed to be in your control all night long. How was it up in front here from the Roval, leading almost every lap en route to a walk-off win in the round of 12?
Oh my God. I mean, it was... I don't know if I can put it in words. I mean, it was just, had everything on the line tonight. Pretty much the only thing that got me in was the win. I messed up the qualifying run on lap 2 and, was able to get the lead there right away. And I was really worried about Seth. I mean, he had a lot more pace than I did in the first run of the race. And, I mean, I really didn't think I was going to be able to hold him off on the second run, but I guess he had some troubles, and was able to get a good lead, and then looked like Ryan had some troubles then as well. So just looked down and had like a 10-second lead with like 15 to go. So I was like, oh my God, just put it in cruise control from there, just to make sure we didn't make any mistakes. But my God, I've won a lot of races in my career and everything. This one probably up amongst the top of them here, just what was on the line and everything.
And with everything, the high stakes and all, tonight you seem to have control from the beginning. But as you mentioned, after that first caution and some troubles in the pack, that clean air got you away from the field, and that's the biggest thing that kept you up there. How important do you feel was the clean air as opposed to running inside the middle of the pack?
I mean, honestly, it probably was really important, but I honestly couldn't tell you because all my practice, all the laps I'd done this week was in clean air out front. Like I really didn't have any laps where I was actually in traffic. So, I mean, I imagine it made a big difference, but just how much, I just really couldn't tell you.
Looks like everything plays out perfect to get to a race victory this season. I'll tell you this much, the Roval, always one of the most chaotic tracks on the campaign, and now coming through for the final stretch of the season. This season, we're going to check out our schedule after a chaotic race here, our second visit to Charlotte. We've got about 200-mile races coming up next, and it looks like we go through our schedule right now, the next of which, after night's race here in the Roval, we'll be heading to Kentucky Speedway. Kentucky's up next on the tour, so what's it going to take to keep that momentum up and fight for the title another night?
I don't know. I mean, I'm going to be in about the same spot going into the next round as I was this round, like down towards the bottom, very few playoff points. So, I mean, it's going to be a tough chore to get to that top four because, I mean, you got Seth, Sam, Tom, Jacob. You got Nick Terrebonne. You got so many guys that, win a lot more of these races than I do. I mean, it was just an accomplishment for me to get to this top 8. But, never know. Find a way to win. It's probably going to take a win, for me to get to the round of 4. I have 3 bullets in the chamber, so just going to have to give it everything I got. But biggest thing I got to say, though, this one's for my wife. We've had the most hellacious weekend you could imagine. We've had to take her to the emergency room or over 3 times over last weekend. It was really scary moments there over the weekend. She's finally doing better now. That was weighing on me quite a bit, last few days. And today is probably the first day where she actually started feeling better. And, just kind of made it where today, it puts everything in perspective. Like, yeah, winning this race is great. Hanging out with the guys is great. But when it's your wife, that's when it hits home. It's real,
And a spirited drive tonight to put everything all together, as you mentioned. Don Stevenson, domination from the Roval. Anything else you'd like to add to wrap off this interview?
Just tell my wife I love her. I'll see her in a few minutes when I go out in the living room, but tell my wife I love her, and, thank everyone here with the Integrity Racing League. Thank you with, Dave with FTN. You've done an outstanding job all year. I mean, looking forward to having you on board, again next year and everything, hopefully. And just can't thank the admins and all the members here enough. We had a nice, decent little turnout tonight for a road course, which, was weren't really expecting. We thought we might have a little bit of a lower turnout, but thank you for all the members that came out and support this league and everything. And just what a great night.
And for Don Stevenson, a great night to pull through with a walk-off win of the round of 12, winning for the Charlotte Roval. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
But Don Stevenson on the way. It's Caitlin Height who finishes in second and keeps the good times rolling for that number 11 team. Caitlin pulls it through yet again, a runner-up finish here from Charlotte. So for Caitlin Height, that number 11 crew gets it done again, winning last week, second place today. Not bad at all for this team. The Haviline machine pulls through for a runner-up finish. How do you feel from Charlotte?
A lot better than I expected, to be honest. I probably had like 5th place pace all night, but I just didn't have any mistakes compared to people in front of me. And I don't know, all of a sudden at the end there, I just started to reel in Don, but too little, too late. But still, pleasantly surprised with the result tonight.
And a pleasant surprise, we're already locked in, so we mentioned it, coming through with a different mindset, but it looks like still a competitive day overall. Not a lot of strategy, one caution, it came down to green flag racing and managing your pace all throughout. So how was it sort of managing that aggression with the speed and whatnot to have it safely until the end?
Honestly, I really only figured out what I was doing in the last 8 laps or so. Like, I had enough pace to just stay ahead of a lot of the midfield, but to really have all that race-winning pace, I really just sort of stumbled on it in the last 10 laps and just, yeah. That's if I would have done a little bit more practice, maybe I could have done a little better, but still, it's pretty decent result from how the race started.
And a result like this is all that's necessary to boost up the standings with those bonus points in mind going into the round of 8. Kentucky up next. Going to be another big race to keep an eye out for. And you came through missing the first race of the round of 12 to win and finish second immediately after. When everything was stacked against this team, they came back and fought. What's it going to take now with maybe a bit of a better chance to make every race?
Really, it's just going to be executing as best I can. But yeah, just going into each race one at a time, just see what happens. That's really all I can do.
See what happens from here on out. Caitlin Height wraps off the round of 12 with another very solid second place finish for the Javelina machine. Anything else you'd like to add?
Just a big thank you to all the admins at Integrity here, you for putting on the broadcast, and I'll actually be at the Roval next weekend for the race, so come say hi. I'll sign autographs, whatever, but yeah, I'll be there.
There we have it. Caitlin Height pulls it through the number 11 machine, getting it done for the Roval, second place on the day. Thank you for your time.
All right, thanks.
There, one more driver in the podium. For the number 11 machine, we go to our number 9. Seth Well pulls it through for a third place finish. Up and down day for the team, but enough to lock into the round of 8 and keep the podiums running here for this Napa Know-How crew. How's it like after a long race here from the Roval?
I mean, we had an okay night. Felt like we had maybe the best pace, but we just never could get up to Don to really test to see what it was. On the second round, we were really close. All of us were really close. Me, Ryan, and Don. We were all just tense apart, and I made too many mistakes on the second run. Screwed up the pit stop with a speeding penalty that made us have to pit under yellow and couldn't jump the guys pit under yellow, and trying to come back the whole race, and then leading up to the mistakes we made late.
And able to clean up and get back inside the top 3. We saw some shuffling on that second run and almost fading outside of the top 5 with a bit of a wiggle with about 20-odd laps to go. Able to reclaim some spots and get back up there with attrition along the way. How was it managing the car from there on out, just hoping to get a few more spots to finish the race off?
I mean, for most of the race, we kind of ran by ourselves on that second run. Once we self-spun off the final corner, we were kind of by ourselves. Ross, me, and Bobby, I think it was, we were all racing, and then I kind of got clear of them, broke away, and then I was just absolutely balls to the wall, giving it everything I had just to see if I could try and track them down, and in doing that, I broke the toe. So we had a good little fight a couple times starting the race, and then again after the second yellow, we were just saying with Bobby and Alan.
And able to hang on for another solid podium finish in the round of 8. This team able to make it clearly into it with 2 consecutive podiums to wrap off this round. It's going to be Kentucky Speedway up next, and that's going to be our first of 2 consecutive 200-mile races to wrap off the campaign. And then we got a short track at Martinsville and championship night to end off the season. So with all this being said, round of 8 is the first priority to get to that championship race. What's it going to take to have a good run at Kentucky and keep it all together?
I have no idea. I've never seen these cars race Kentucky. I don't know if it's old Kentucky or new Kentucky, so we'll see. Heading into practice next week, when we join the session, we'll see where we are and how we stack up, and just try and have a nice, consistent 3 races like we did this round, and try and get to that Final 4.
Looking for that Final 4, the number 9 machine, Seth Well, pulls it through. Round 26 from Roval. It is a third-place finish with the Napa Auto Parts machine getting there at the end, top 3. Anything else you'd like to add?
Hey, shout out to Steven. He won the Coke Championship tonight. Shout out to Steven and Dead Zone. They did a great job all season. As always, shout out to the Nexus boys. Appreciate the broadcast as well as the league running tonight. Shout out to Don getting his first one in the season, man. He's been close a couple times, so congrats to him.
And there we have it. Fierce battles all around. The number 9 machine coming through for another top 3 finish. Seth Well, third from the Roval. Thank you for your time.
All right, appreciate it, David.
One more, of course, on the way. One more announcement that is not a driver, but As we were told, it is Steven Wilson getting it done with the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series Championship, which means our official standings are done and done for this season, and that sets the stage for one more eNASCAR race. Road to Pro, FTN, Thursday night. You're not going to want to miss it. That is much watched eNASCAR television, and it'll be only live exclusively Split 2 on FTN. Watch on Thursday night as we've seen another great race here on Tuesdays. I've been David Kreutz, communicating all of the commentary and the production for tonight's broadcast here as Don Stevenson wins for the first time this season. Getting it done when it matters the most. We'll be live next Tuesday night with the Kentucky Motor Speedway, and that's going to be an exciting race in itself. 200 miles, 134 laps. Watch out as we'll have ourselves a thriller in the Midwest. Tomorrow night we'll be live with the FORL Cup Series as they head to Virginia for the Virginia 97.75. Keep an eye out for that broadcast too as we keep the ball rolling on another action-packed week live on FTN. We thank all our viewers for watching tonight's broadcast. If you enjoyed, be sure to leave a like on the stream and subscribe to the channel. Your support is always greatly appreciated. We could never do this without each and every one of you. From our studios to your homes, we hope you enjoyed tonight's presentation of the Integrity Octane Series. And of course, as we go tonight, this has been round 26 from the Roval. We hope to see you all whenever we're live again on FTN, and we hope that you all have a great night. Thank you all for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow live on FTN.